Hey, Daryl here, and this is my daily devotional. The subject of giving may be one of the least favorite for a minister to preach on, and it may be the least favorite for one in the congregation to listen to. But the subject of giving is a rubber meets the road type subject. It really demonstrates where we are in our relationship with the Lord and how we trust Him. One of my favorite verses in this subject is found in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38, where it says, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." It speaks for itself. The more you give, the more you expect to receive. The less you give, the less you may expect to receive. Now, David is preparing for the building of the temple by his son Solomon. And he gives generously, and his people give generously. Listen, as I read in 1 Chronicles chapter 29, beginning at verse 3. This is David. "Besides, in my devotion to the temple of my God, I now give my personal treasures of gold and silver for the temple of my God, over and above everything I have provided for this holy temple." And it goes on and lists much of what he has given. And then it says in verse 7, the people followed his leadership, and they gave equally as well. They gave toward the work of the temple of God. They worked towards the work of They gave towards the work of the temple of God 5,000 talents and 10,000 derricks of gold, 10,000 talents of silver, 18,000 talents of bronze, and 100,000 talents of iron. Any who had precious stones gave them to the treasury of the temple of the Lord in the custody of Jael the Gershonite. Now, moving on down, David must have been shaking his head. How have we accumulated so much wealth for the construction of the temple? And then he says in verse 14, "Who am I?" Boy, that's a question we can ask. Who am I that God would send his son to die for us? Who am I that God would use us to give so generously to his work, his ministries, his buildings that represent his presence? Verse 14, "But who am I, and who are my people, that we should be able to give as generously as this? Everything comes from you, and we have given you only what comes from your hand. We are aliens and strangers in your sight, as were all our forefathers. Our days on earth are like a shadow without hope. O Lord our God, as for all this abundance that we have provided for building you a temple for your holy name, it comes from your hand, and all of it belongs to you. I know, my God, that you test the heart and are pleased with integrity. All these things have I given willingly and with honest intent. And now I have seen with joy how willingly your people who are here have given to you. O Lord, God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, keep this desire in the hearts of your people forever, and keep their hearts loyal to you." Giving, understanding that we only give what God has given to us. In these days of coronavirus, in these days when we're not able to go to church, in these days when the offering plate is not being passed, please remember to give. Your church still has the bills coming in. Your church still has ministers whose salaries need to be paid. You need to continue to give out of what God has given. God bless you. Good day.